Hey everybody, Rob Veno here, WagerTalk.com, WagerTalk TV. Monday, April the 22nd, here with your free selections with analysis. We're going to go NBA playoff style and talk about the two games that'll be played tonight. Detroit at New York, game 2. That's what we'll cover first, and then we'll round it out with the LA Clippers at Denver, Western Conference playoff game 2 as well. Let's go ahead and take an immediate look here at Detroit, New York. The game opened Knicks -7, 221. Game currently sits New York -6.5, 220.5. Injury report on both sides. Clean each way. Still won't have a return of Jaden Ivey. We look forward to that down the road if the Pistons get deeper into the playoffs. Both sides had yesterday off. Again, scheduling is not going to come into play anymore. Generally, we go over scheduling. That's not a factor here in the playoffs. So everybody rested. Let's look at the matchup and the situation. Let's especially look at the previous game 1 notes, playoff style handicapping, a little bit different than regular season. And we did do a video on game 1 of this game, and I released a play on it, thinking that in game 1, if there was a spot where Detroit's youth would show, it would probably be in the series opener. It took a long time for it to show up, but in the fourth quarter, it eventually did. Detroit unraveled in the fourth quarter, gave up 40 points, almost 71% field goal shooting, committed 6 turnovers that led to 11 Knicks points. Knicks were 14 of 17 from inside 14 of their 17 baskets came from inside the arc in that fourth quarter, 26 points inside the paint. A lot of that was layups off of steals, et cetera, et cetera. Those of you who saw it know. For Detroit, they're now likely more acquainted with the postseason atmosphere and environment, and that game 1 turns into experience factor now as we head into game 2. The positive for the Pistons here is that through 3 quarters, New York had no answers on how to stop them from scoring. They had 91 points, and they were dispersed pretty well. 27, 28, and then 36 in the third quarter. They were 54.2% from the field. They shot 13 of 24 from 3. They led in rebounding. They led in second chance points. They led in fast break points all through 3 quarters. So the Pistons were playing great ball up until the fourth. Ball security is going to be the issue that needs to be corrected here tonight, because even before that fourth quarter collapse, Detroit had already had 13 turnovers, almost twice as many as the Knicks, who only had 7 in that span. New York ramped up the defensive energy. They took advantage of the home crowd. They pressured Detroit the final 12 minutes and pulled out that win. But, you know, that win, those types of wins don't occur every single day. So we'll see. The question here is, why did it take so long for New York to wake up? Was it the long layoff? Maybe they took Detroit too lightly. They led at halftime. Maybe they thought, we got this. Or is it the case that these two teams really just aren't separated by that much, and Detroit is that good? Of the 8 games played this past weekend, this particular matchup had the highest number of potential points scored percentage-wise in their game. And again, I'll reiterate, I use a category called potential points, which is if every single shot taken in the game went through the hoop, how many points would have been scored? In this game, it would have been 453 if every shot was made. These two teams made 51.9% of the points that were available to them. That's a lot. It was the most of any game this particular weekend. Just to put it into context, this game had 179 field goal attempts. That was the second highest this weekend. If you eliminate the Clippers and Nuggets, that game went overtime and only had 180. So this was a fast-paced game, a lot of it due to the frantic fourth quarter. Let's take a final look here real quick. Zigzag theory is going to come into play here in the playoffs, right? Everybody zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. We see in this line, Knicks open 7, down to 6.5, a little bit of Detroit money. Obviously, the prevailing thought for years and years is that the road team down 0-1 needs to win here to get back to even. The opposite can also be true. The home team always likes to hold serve, want to go up 2-0. In this instance, Detroit probably has a real chance of evening it up after what we saw. I'm going to look at it this way, though. Saturday's game, and we're going to go from a totals perspective here. Saturday's game totaled 235 points, and 42 of those came off of turnovers. That's an excessively high number. I wouldn't expect 42 points off of turnovers again. I'd expect each team to be more judicious, especially Detroit with their ball security. And if Detroit can keep their backup center, Isaiah Stewart, on the floor, remember he had 5 fouls, played limited minutes in game one. That helps their defense as well. Knicks tempo, always capable of slowing down a game. This total hasn't really moved much. It's only down to 220.5. I think that this one's probably going to stay under the numbers. That's the way we're going to play it as your free play for today. Detroit, New York, under 220.5. Let's go ahead now, guys, before we get to the second game and take a look at what's available here at WagerTalk.com. Obviously, I've talked a lot about the NBA run that I've been on. It's now up to 40-15 over the last month since St. Patrick's Day. 40-15, that's 72.7% over the last month, plus 40.6 units during that stretch. Go back to December, we're up almost 55 units. You can take advantage of this week's package, a week-long package, a month-long package, or an entire playoff package just by visiting WagerTalk.com or my homepage at wt.buzz/RV. Another productive day yesterday where we picked up a little over a unit and a half. So once again, NBA rest of the season, buy it weekly, buy it monthly, buy the entire playoff package. Visit WagerTalk.com or my site at or my page on the site, wt.buzz/RV. Clippers at Denver. Let's give it a look. Injury report good on both sides. Scheduling, again, not a factor. The matchup, the previous game notes. Let's look at them here. There were 6 teams in 8 games over this past weekend, playoff games, where one team shot 50% or better from the field. 5 of those teams won their game. The only team that shot 50% in their game and lost was the LA Clippers. The other teams that did so won their games between 11 and 51 points. You shoot 50% from the field in a playoff game, you're supposed to win. The Clippers found a way to lose that game. Turnover problems again. Detroit had them. The Clippers had them. The Clippers allowed 29 points off of turnovers to the Nuggets in that game. They were outscored by 20 in that category. It destroyed their good shooting night. It destroyed a great defensive effort. When you take a look at how the Nuggets scored in that game, if you take Jokic and Aaron Gordon out of that game, those two guys went 20 of 38, 52.6%. The rest of the Nuggets only shot 37.5%. Great defensive effort by the Clippers, but it fell short because they couldn't hang on to the basketball. One guy, Kawhi Leonard, especially responsible. He had 7 turnovers in that game. The statistical categories otherwise were a virtual deadlock. One that sticks out is the Nuggets did have 11 more free throw attempts, and they turned it into +9 on the scoreboard. In an overtime game, every little bit counts. Nuggets were certainly helped by points off turnovers and making their free throws, while the Clippers didn't. I think the Clippers were like 12 for 21 from the free throw line. Any variance in those two categories in this game could see LA win this time around. I think one of the most eye-opening facets of that game was we had a 62-point first quarter, and after that it turned into a 41-minute grind. Absolutely the way the Clippers would like to play it, absolutely not the way the Nuggets would like to play it, and yet they still won. Nuggets are free-flowing offense, plays with pace, played the grind style, and actually won that game. Let's take a look at how we can make some money off of this one. The zigzag theory is in full effect in this game. I mean, the money is coming so heavily that we have a change in favorites. Denver opened -2, 219. The Clippers are now the favorite, -1.5, 218.5. It's totally understandable the way game one went. I mean, obviously, I provided the logic behind the zigzag theory in the Detroit, New York video. And when you add into this one, the way that game was decided on Saturday, you can see why people are flocking to the Clippers here. Again, Denver's defense was bottom tier all season long. And the fact that they played so well, could it be a mirage? I would tend to think that it's probably somewhat of a mirage. I don't know that Denver's defense can play that good again. They kind of benefited from a low possession game in that one. I'm not sure it holds up here. All that said, this total has only been reduced by 6 points, or it has been reduced by 6 points off of the game one closer, from 224.5 down to 218.5. That's a significant decrease here. So odds makers telling you we expect a little bit of a lower scoring game. The Nuggets, we know, are going to provide a 100% max effort. They want to go up 2-0 at home. They desperately want to win the 2 games in altitude here before they get to the Clippers' home floor. But I'm not sure they can duplicate that win on Saturday. That's way out of character for the Nuggets. And like I said, the Clippers played well in so many facets. Just a little bit of cleanup here, and I think they win this one. So that's where we're going to head with this one. Free play for this game is going to be the LA Clippers -1 over the Denver Nuggets. On the way out, I'd like to ask everybody if you like the selections and analysis provided here at WagerTalk TV. Please go ahead and hit the like button, click subscribe. We recently crossed the 200,000 subscriber number. Thanks to all of you who have watched and subscribed. If you have a comment on this game or any other game in the NBA playoffs, please feel free to drop it in the comment section. I try to get to them as quickly as I can. For now, this is Rob Veno saying good luck with all of your plays. We'll see you next time on WagerTalk TV.